Good afternoon. Welcome to a 1 o'clock news update. My name is Mark Masai, and we start and we'll be focusing more on a look at the effect that the directive by the Council of Governors to suspend non-essential services at the county level, what that effect has had to the counties today, because it was to take effect today. But there are counties that have said they will defy this directive by the Council of Governors, especially the chairman, Wycliffe Oparanya. The senators had enough to say about that because they're in a full dispute of this, saying that it is even an impeachable offense. Now, Mandera County is one of those that are defying this call. They will not be shutting down despite the directive by the Council of Governors to all the governors to shut down non-essential county services over the Senate stalemate on the new county revenue sharing formula. This latest COG directive has opened a new battleground with the senators.
This Thursday will mark the first day of the county's shutdown on all non-essential services in what the Council of Governors has said is due to lack of money to fund their operations due to the failure by the Senate to settle on a new formula to share the 316.5 billion shillings to the counties. According to COG, governors are required to suspend all non-essential services and have the county employees proceed on leave for 2 weeks. County health facilities will not permit new inpatient admissions and will only provide minimal outpatient services. The county workers are now facing tougher times ahead with no money to pay their August salaries, even with some of them having not been paid for the last 2 months. But some of the governors seem apprehensive towards the shutdown. Mandera Governor Ali Roba, through a statement to Newsroom, says Mandera County will continue offering full services to the residents despite the meager resources. Roba says he does not support the war with the Senate and that all his staff will be on duty despite the cash crisis. While meeting the Senate leadership on Wednesday in an effort to end the stalemate, President Uhuru Kenyatta, in the presence of ODM leader Raila Odinga, promised to add 50 billion shillings on top of the current shareable amount of 316 billion shillings. Governors now want Treasury to immediately release 50% of their previous budget allocation to cater for their current operations as Senate tries to unlock the revenue stalemate. A 12-member Senate committee that was formed to unlock the stalemate met early morning and is expected to present their resolution to Akamukunji this afternoon to secure consensus before the matter is tabled on the floor of the House. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Well, we've heard that Mandera is one of those defying that directive. Machakos County Governor has also been clear on his stand on this, as well as Makueni County. Let's look at the situation in Kisumu, where Governor Anyang' Nyong'o has asked all county staff to take leave with immediate effect, only allowing those in specific departments in the health sector and revenue collection to continue discharging their duties. Oko Kusa, this seems, the order that is, seems to be heeded in Kisumu.
Well, Mark, of course, yes, that order seems to have taken effect here in Kisumu. It's a shutdown as far as the governor is concerned, apart from some specific departments that you mentioned there in the health department, where he has only allowed inpatient services to go on, and saying that the county will be organizing for a couple of doctors and nurses to attend to those who are admitted, who are still in the inpatient wing. And of course also saying that as far as outpatient is concerned, they are only going to be attending to emergency cases. That is, if you are in need of emergency care, those are the people that they'll be attending to. Otherwise, he has advised that the rest of those residents seeking services in the outpatient departments to look for those services elsewhere. And at the same time, the governor says that all the county health facilities will remain open, but will only be giving out those services that I've just listed there. Besides that, he has also singled out the Revenue Collection Department and the Law Enforcement Department as two, and finally the ICT services, which he says will remain open to offer services to residents as the shutdown continues. So that is what we are getting from Prosperity House. That is where the governor sits. And of course, in case there is more development, we'll be able to inform our viewers as the day goes by. But so far, that is what is happening. It's a shutdown here in Kisumu, and of course, we will be keeping you updated. Back to you, Mark.
It's confirming that the order is in effect there in Kisumu. Let's go to Mombasa, and assemblies across the country have threatened to shut down operations from the 24th of September 2020 if the Senate fails to resolve the impasse surrounding revenue sharing formula. While speaking in Mombasa, the CAF chairperson, Degwa Wahome, maintains that county assemblies will support steps taken by the Council of Governors over the matter.
Us, with and support the decision made by the Council of Governors to send non-essential staff. And in these, as county assemblies, we want to emphasize that we expect operations in our health sector to continue seamlessly despite whatever happens, whatever circumstances. We should make deliberate efforts to ensure that our health sector is not affected at all by this shutdown, especially these times of COVID-19 pandemic. And therefore, the leave suggested is for 2 weeks or until a solution to the current impasse is found. And we are asking that assemblies also shall close down on Thursday, September 24th, 2020, in the event that Senate, which is meeting on the 22nd of September 2020, if they don't come up with this formula, then assemblies are also going to shut down on the 24th of September 2020. This will definitely cause a huge disruption of service delivery, but we are asking that counties, in consultation with the Controller of Budget and the National Treasury, be allowed to utilize local revenue at source to ensure that the delivery of essential services, particularly in the health sector, continues uninterrupted despite the shutdown.
Oh, that is another imminent strike, or at least a notice to lay down tools from the county of Mombasa if the revenue sharing formula stalemate is not dealt with. This is the same basis that the Council of Governors has called counties to suspend non-essential services. Let's look at a situation in Mombasa. Kevin Mutai is on the ground, has been doing a spot check. Is this directive taking effect, or are they defying it in Mombasa?
Well, Mark, what we can report from Mombasa is that health services are going on as usual. I spoke to County Executive Member Hazel Koitaba a few minutes ago, and she told us that as Mombasa County, they had put in place legislation and policies to make sure that they will be able to use local revenue so as to use them in delivering critical services such as health services here in Mombasa. I equally spoke to other officials from the health department in other counties within the coast region, and they're saying that they are yet to receive the communique from the Council of Governors on the suspension of some of the services in the counties, which of course also not indicating or giving a position on whether they're going to effect on those directives from the Council of Governors. So it will be interesting to also try and collect views from also the residents and other leaders from the region on their position on the impasse and the stalemate surrounding the revenue sharing formula. But of course also, Mark, as you heard it there, the County Assemblies Forum, who have been holding meetings here in Mombasa, are urging the senators to resolve the impasse before Tuesday, of which they are threatening to shut down services at the county assemblies. This is in a push to support the Council of Governors, the steps they're taking to make sure that they'll be able to overcome this particular issue, but of course also appealing to governors not to affect the health services in counties, because these are critical services helping the residents, the country, but of course also at the time that the country is battling with COVID-19. The chairperson of CAF, Ndegwa Wahome, said that if the Senate fails to resolve the issue, then they'll be left with no choice but to go down to the 1,450 wards across the country to call on residents to also join hands with the leaders from all over the country in appealing to the Senate to find a long-lasting solution and resolve this impasse surrounding the revenue sharing formula once and for all. So Mark will still be collecting views from residents here in Mombasa and other stakeholders who are in charge of the matter, and definitely will be giving a proper story on the situation and the general outlook on what Mombasa and the Coast region is doing with regards to the situation. Back to you, Mark Masai.
Thank you, Kevin Mutai, for confirming that as far as Mombasa is concerned, as at now, services still continue, especially in the hospitals, and that being the stakeholders who are most affected given this directive. Well, they're speaking on the issue right now. The Health Workers Union alongside the County Workers Union are speaking on the shutdown of county services. This follows the directive by the COG chairman, Wycliffe Oparanya, to send county staff, at least the non-essential staff, he termed, on leave for 2 weeks following the stalemate at Senate on the revenue allocation of funds. Helen Aura joins us live with some of the union officials and what has happened so far. What can we highlight, Helen?
Well, Mark, the union actually believes that the country's leadership has indeed failed Kenyans. And this is following the ongoing strike by county healthcare workers across various counties due to them, most of them not receiving their salaries. And as a matter of fact, some of the key recommendations that the union has put forward is that the creation of a health service commission and that the county government workers to manage human resources for health employment and deployment of healthcare workers across various counties. And the other thing that the unions want to be addressed is the issue of the National Treasury should be able to release funds immediately in continuing services of payment of the salaries to healthcare workers across the country. And one of the key pointers also that has come very forward and very strong from each and every leadership in the union is that all healthcare workers who have not received their salaries so far should be able to stay home and find other things to do. And this in turn will also lead to many patients in hospitals across various counties not being able to receive treatment or not being able to receive health care, which is quite mandatory or detrimental at this particular moment. And I'm joined by George Kibore from and Chibanzi Machonda, who will also further be able to address this particular issue. George, welcome. For you to say that healthcare workers who've not received their salaries so far to stay at home, what happens to the patients in hospital?
Thank you, Helen, at least for highlighting about this issue. What happened is that we have said we are, for the first time, in agreement with the employer who says that if we are not being paid to go home. The reason why we are agreeing with them is that we have been suffering for all these years that we have had devolution. And when we raise this issue, they never agree. Now today, for the first time, we agree with them. And we have called all the health cares who have not been paid to go home. Then the other thing that we are saying, now it has a ripple effect, that for the patient who have been admitted are going to be released home. And the patient who are outside might not be able to get the services. That's mean we will have this patient be transferred either to the public sector or any other facility that is available for them, including the Mission Hospital. And even today, we want to caution those who are traveling that they should avoid traveling. We know what happened in our road. This has a ripple effect. And we want to say it is sudden that we come to such a situation, but again say that it is a call for us as the country to ensure that we have a commission, a health service commission, that can be able to look into the welfare of the healthcare workers. And indeed, a awakening call for the Kenyan to get to know that their leaders, their political leaders, do not care about them. Thank you very much.
And does this mean now inpatient and outpatient services will tremendously be affected? So for the normal Mwananchi, the Wanjiru, the Njeri, how will they be able to get some of this healthcare? How will they be able to get access?
I think that is the saddest thing that we need to say, that once we have said that all those who have not been paid should go home, it is a kind of saying that no services is going on. In services, outpatient, all services will be closed down. However, we have said for those who have not been paid, if there is any person who have been paid, let them continue services. Now, that is a awakening call for all the Kenyans to get to know that they will not get services in the public sector where employees, the healthcare workers, have not been paid. So that's to mean we are closing down, total closure for all the facility. And remember, Helen, that we already have strike for the Nairobi, Narok, Homa Bay, and also Baringo, and including Embu, where everything is closed. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Washanda, maybe can you actually explain for the normal Mwananchi who's watching you right now, it kind of comes off as a bit insensitive for you to say you're going to close down some of these services due to, first and foremost, you know what, you're not being paid, you're not receiving the salaries. But what happens also to the ethics of the medical ethics at hand?
So let me say this first. The responsibility of provision of services, as per the Constitution, lies upon the leadership, whether at county or at national level. So this crisis has not been created by healthcare workers as we're speaking. This crisis has been created by the leadership, which is the national government and the county governments. So county governments are decrying they have no funds. The national government has not taken steps to ensure that the minimal funds to support the healthcare workers are availed. So as a result, it is a crisis by the leadership, not by healthcare workers. For us, even as healthcare workers, we still need to survive. We still have rent to pay. We still have families to feed. We still have relatives who depend on us. So if you're not going to be taken care of the way it should be, and this is not new, it is not the first time that the Council of Governors are delayed, it's not the first time that dues are not remitted, NHIF, statutory deductions, it is not the first time. It has been a consistent and perennial problem. And because of that, the only solution to save that Kenyan who now needs those services is the creation of a health services commission. There's no other solution.
And some of the key pointers that came forward from today's meeting was the fact that there's always money for projects. There's always money for kickbacks, as you had mentioned it earlier, but there's no money to pay healthcare workers. Is that how generally the union feels? Is that where you people stand?
Yes, and I say this because we've been having engagements over the last 3 weeks, and one of the biggest contention we've had is the promotion of healthcare workers. So the rallying call across all county governments and county public service boards is that they don't have money, but they have money for procurement of beds. They have money for procurement of equipment, because that is where, and we know this country, that is where corruption is, in procurement. So the focus on healthcare has been on procurement for far too long. So there's no way you can say there's no money to promote healthcare workers, to take care of healthcare workers, their compensation, their medical insurance, their access to healthcare services. So that is why we are saying that we need a health services commission separate to be able to purely focus on the HR aspect and the welfare of workers in the counties for continuity of service. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, there you have it, Mark. This is some of the key issues that were actually mentioned today, and healthcare workers in the countries right now feel like as if they have been neglected. And following even different countries and different counties, still the healthcare workers stating that they're still going to continue with the strike. Back to you, studio.
Helen Aura, thank you very much for that representation from the stakeholders representing the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers and KMPDU in support of this call for those who have not been paid to down their tools, not in support of the medical services reaching the Mwananchi, and saying that this is not their making. Let's have a look at what's happening in Uasin Gishu, and Gabriel Kudaka is at the county headquarters, and he's actually able to talk to the county governor, Jackson Mandago. What are they saying there, especially even the health workers, as far as this call is concerned?
Thank you so much, Mark. Indeed, we're at the county headquarters of Uasin Gishu, where Governor Jackson Mandago has been having a meeting with the members of the Parliamentary Committee on Health. So far, the operations are still moving on as usual. There's no shutdown, but we don't know for how long this is going to be happening. We will be talking to the governor here just briefly over the same, just to get to know precisely what is going to happen. Hello. But so far, we are told everything is well. We are moving around the county hospital. Services have not been disrupted. Things are moving on well. So we don't know how long this contract settlement is going to affect the delivery of services for Wananchi. Just a moment. Let me try to see if I'll talk to the governor of the whole situation. Officials here from the he'll give me a small interview. Just a moment. Excuse me. Hello, he said he'll be talking to us later after the meeting with the other parliamentary committee members.
Gabriel Kudaka, thank you for that. At least trying to get a statement from the Governor Jackson Manago, clearly in consultation with other stakeholders and county leaders on this matter. Let's have a look at what's happening in Nakuru. Ruth Sarmwe has been doing a spot check as well. And as far as at least earlier indications were concerned, there are some medics who have downed their tools as far as giving services at the hospitals. But you can confirm more from Nakuru in terms of what's happening at the Nakuru Level 5 hospital. Ruth?
Well, Mark, at this hospital, services have continued on uninterrupted, and so is other hospitals within this county, including Molo, Subukia, and even Bahati. Health services have continued uninterrupted. Also within the county, offices, services such as garbage collection, the Office of Allocation of Revenue are still functional, and also enforcement of, as you know them, Kanjo, are still operational within the county. However, some offices, such as the lands which they say are non-essential services, and the youth offices have been closed at the moment. So I'll just like to read a statement that was sent by the Governor of Nakuru, Lee Kinyanjui, that said, in the last 3 months we have operated on a bank overdraft service to service payroll and other essential services. As we continue to incur heavy interest from commercial banks, our funds cannot be released due to revenue allocation stalemate at the Senate. So from that statement, they say that they will be holding a meeting tomorrow to discuss the outcome and the step that Nakuru County will take, or the next step that the Nakuru County will take following what the Council of Governors gave as a directive. Back to you, Mark.
Ruth Sarmwe, thank you for that confirmation that the medical services at least are going on as usual. And as far as this particular directive from the County Council of Governors is concerned, it hasn't taken full effect, but there is concern from the governor as to how sustainable this would be. We're hoping to get some word from Nyeri, from Oletengis on the situation there. Hopefully we will be able to after the break. But it seems that some of this pressure call from the Council of Governors is yielding to some sort of action as far as the revenue stalemate is concerned, as just within the last 30 minutes, it has broken out that Senate Special Committee has reached a consensus on the third basis for revenue sharing. Reports to be tabled later today for debate and voting. This has been confirmed by the Senate Speaker, Kenneth Lusaka. We'll be getting confirmations on that and the information that comes from that in a bit. As soon as we get it and as soon as they go live, we'll definitely bring it to you. We take a break at this moment. Stay with us.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Mbolea za Mavuno Fertilizers zimetengenezwa mahususi kusaidia udongo na mimea. Zimetengenezwa kwa taaluma ya hali ya juu ya kisayansi. Zaidi ya wakulima 500,000 nchini wanaweza kupata mbolea hizi kwa bei nafuu. Zinapatikana katika maduka ya kuuza pembejeo kwa viwango vya kilo 1 hadi kilo 50. Wakulima ambao wametumia mbolea za Mavuno Fertilizers wamepata ongezeko la mazao yao kwa 30%. Wasiliana nasi leo kwa simu ili kujua mengi kuhusu namna mbolea za mavuno zinavyosaidia kuongeza uzalishaji chakula nchini.
Devki Steel Mills have provided quality building material with the widest range of associated steel products over the last 3 decades. Look for the Devki mark on a widest selling reinforcement, twisted and TMT rebars. which are KBS certified and have the diamond mark of quality. Devki Steel, Kenya's most trusted steel company.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Pants is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
Parenting is all about learning when to be tough and when to be gentle. Tough, gentle. But when it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Tough call. Panadol Baby and Infant. Tough on fever, gentle on your child.
Sio watu wengi wanajua maneno ya chuma. Lazima utafute ule foodi au wana deal na chuma ya doshi. Nikishika nasikia uzito, unasikia muongeze mshahara.
Jijenge na Doshi Steel, chuma ya nguvu.
Welcome back. The disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic has led to a scramble for a vaccine in the hope that it would prove to be a cure. But opinion is divided on how soon we should expect one, how it should be distributed, and if prevention will prove deadlier than the disease. The Gates Foundation has been at the forefront in championing vaccines for the residual pandemics that plague the developing world. And tonight, Olive Burrows will be picking the brain of the second richest man on the planet on the search for a COVID vaccine.
We've petitioned the technology gods in the hopes that we don't lose the connection for the next 20 minutes. All right, we'll be discussing the goalkeepers report for 2020, of course, which has a lot to say on the COVID-19 pandemic and how that has impacted our road to the Sustainable Development Goals. Bill, I'll start with this question. This year, you gave up your seat on the Microsoft board in order to dedicate more of your time to philanthropy and the work that the foundation carries out. Why is this work so important to you? Put another way, why are you on this call with me and not on a beach somewhere saying to yourself that let the SDGs be somebody else's problem?
So we're experts on infectious disease. A lot of our work is in Africa. More recently with the pandemic, now our work is important globally, not just in developing countries, because our expertise on vaccines and which companies are good at what and how you develop those things. So, this year has actually been a very intense year. As the pandemic hit, our role of being able to work with governments and companies has been more important. So I've really streamlined things so that our foundation can play a big part in making sure over the next couple of years we bring this entire pandemic to an end.
How has your foundation sought to ensure that the funds it contributes to its partners? The report talks of a HIV positive mother living in Homa Bay, and you got that information through one of your partner organizations in Kenya. How do you try and ensure that the funds you contribute are actually going to what it was intended for?
If you'd like to hear the answer to that question, be sure to join us on NTV tonight at 9 p.m. for that and much more that Olive was able to cover with Bill Gates. Back home, just a few days after 8 people died at the Legio Maria headquarters in Migori County, the church leadership, with the full support of its members, are requesting the Independent Policing Oversight Authority to investigate the police involvement in the wrangles. The leadership of the church has also announced that those who lost their lives will be buried in the church compound and will be named saints.
The members of the church took to the streets to conduct prayers for the departed and also to register their discontent with the police. Their religious rites were coupled with mourning for the 8 who died.
Mtoto aliuliwa, walimkanyaga na gari na wakabeba wakaenda naye ambapo hatujui huyu mtoto yuko wapi.
We are going to enter the dead here and we canonize them to become saints.
The 8 died following an altercation between the church's faithful and police on Monday at Gotkwer Shrine in Migori. Police had moved in after 2 groups which are opposed to each other clashed.
Tunaomba serikali ya Kenya itusaidie kitu kama hii siwahi tendeka tena. Kozi ni kitendo ya aibu. Lejo Maria ni kanisa inaheshimika dunia mzima.
Ofisa ya serikali ambaye walipanga kukuja kuona kitu ambayo ilifanyika hapa Kalfari, lakini hawakufika.
Pope Lawrence Ochieng and believers are now demanding quick investigations into the matter amid claims that police used excessive force. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Finally, with a bit of sports, and Paris Saint-Germain forward Neymar has been banned for 2 games after being sent off in PSG's loss to Marseille. But French football authorities will investigate his accusation of racial abuse. The Brazil international was the last of 5 red cards in Sunday's bad-tempered match after he hit Marseille defender Alvaro Gonzalez. And there he's clapping to the red card. Neymar later accused his opponent of racism on social media and urged the authorities to use VAR to investigate. Gonzalez has denied Neymar's claim. The other 4 players sent off have also received bans, with PSG defender Lavin Kurzawa suspended for 6 matches. One in a preseason friendly, Messi helped set up Felipe Coutinho back from his loan at Bayern Munich for the first goal after 21 minutes. The Argentine scored his first after 45 minutes, spinning on the edge of the penalty area and drilling a shot in off the base of the far post. He scored his second with a deflected shot after... Messi and Barcelona by extension, but that uniform, well, that's it for Ntv at 1. I'm Mark Pasai. Be safe.
This is NTV.